good. Hello.
Okay, well, hello and welcome to this special Google Hangout. We'll start by introducing ourselves again, but I'm fairly sure that anybody watching this via the Care for Vulnerable Children course is going to know who we are by now. I'm Graeme McPhee.
And I'm John Paul Fitzpatrick.
Okay, so thanks for watching this. This is kind of shorter than normal Google Hangout. It's got a very specific focus, and it's just to give people a little bit more information about a programme that we run here at the University of Strathclyde that people may have picked up on during the 6 weeks of the Care for Vulnerable Children course. So we have an SC in Child and Youth Care Studies by distance learning. So we'll just start by just giving you a little bit of background. It was developed here at the university alongside CELSIS. CELSIS stands for the Centres for Excellence for Looked After Children in Scotland. Okay, so that's easy for me to say. And it's got a curriculum which we feel kind of talks to child and youth care issues across the world. Okay, and so this programme has been in existence now for just short of 2 years. We welcomed our first intake in September 2014, so we had intake then. A year later, 2015, and we'll be having another intake in September 2016. So this might be something that you're interested in. I guess the kind of first question, is who's the programme aimed at? Okay, right. So I guess the kind of programme, first things first, kind of project is postgraduate study level. Okay, so it's aimed at people who have a first degree in the first instance, or if not a first degree, then another kind of combination of qualifications and experience that they could make the case to be entered into kind of postgraduate study.
Can I ask, given that it's about child and youth care, do you need to be actively working in a child and youth care setting to be able to apply for the course and run the course?
So to meet the requirements of the course, yes, you do need to be in practice. It's aimed at practitioners, although the definition of kind of who it's suitable for is kind of quite wide. So perhaps the best way to illustrate this is to begin to talk about some of the students that we've had in the first two cohorts of the students. So we've first two cohorts of students. Well, let's actually kind of tell people where they came from in the first instance. We've got students from Canada, students from all parts of the UK. We've had students from Australia, New Zealand, United Arab Emirates, Morocco, Austria. I think I've just about run out now. There might be a few that I've missed out on, so kind of quite a...
Did they outnumber the Scottish contingent?
Our biggest contingent is Canadian, both
Brilliant.
first and second years. Okay.
That's really healthy, actually, though, in terms of getting a really diverse and rich learning experience that truly reflects international child and youth care. So that's healthy. Great.
So lots of interesting discussions going on. People kind of comparing and contrasting kind of the different politics, the different kind of service delivery issues in different settings. But going back to your question about do people need to be in practice? Yes. So it's aimed at practitioners. It's a part-time course over 2 years, and the material, I would say, almost on a week-to-week basis, but certainly when you come to the formal assessments, you've got to be drawing upon your practice experience. So at this stage, if you're sitting there thinking, I might be interested in this course, and sometimes I get inquiries from students saying, I've always wanted to work in child and youth care, I think this might be the course for me. Well, the answer at this point is actually probably not, because if you've never worked in the sector before, that this is going to be a kind of a difficulty for you, a barrier. So what you need to do in the first instance is begin to gain some experience in the field, and then further down the line kind of think about applying, because students need to draw upon their practice experience both for the week-to-week materials and very much for the assessments, and it's very much aimed at encouraging students to think about the linkage between theory and practice, i.e. how does the literature, the research and the theoretical inputs that provided to you over the course of the 2 years, how does that relate to kind of practice and further and deepen students' understanding of their role.
Is my attendance online, if I was to do the course, is it mandatory? Like, do I have to attend every class, every session? How does that work?
So I guess the way it works is, actually, let me go back a question and answer just a question just before, because you asked about kind of do you have to be in practice? And I'm saying yes, but it might be worth just teasing out for people just a little bit more about, well, what's that going to look like? Because we've got students from a variety of settings. So we've got students in Canada who we class as child and youth care practitioners, but even those child and youth care practitioners might be working in a range of different settings. So we'll get child and youth care workers working in group home residential care. We've got child and youth care practitioners who are working in hospital-based settings. We've got child and youth care workers who are perhaps more supporting foster families and children living in placement. So kind of child and youth care workers in entirety. We've got students we've got a number of students who are working in education settings. So be that teachers or teaching assistants or working as some sort of kind of childcare assistant within teaching settings. We've got a couple of students who are actually kind of more based in college or university settings, so their direct practice is actually more with students in a sense. And we've got kind of students from almost a range of kind of different settings that might be plotted on the spectrum in between those. I guess kind of we're hopefully what you get a sense from that is that the course is accessible for kind of a range of people working in the child and youth care sector. Okay, so going back to your question about kind of how do people experience the course now? It's part-time. It runs over 2 years. Now, I'm not going to bog you down with too much of the detail just now in terms of the practicalities of the course. I think that might get lost in a Google Hangout. What I would encourage people to do is, if you want to find out a bit more detail about the mechanics and the architecture of the course, go into the University of Strathclyde website and kind of put the name of the course in, and you'll find material there.
That's on www.strath.ac.uk.
That is indeed. So I forgot what I was going to say now. How you experience the course on a kind of week-to-week basis. So in the first year, students would do 4 modules, 2 in semester 1, 2 in semester 2. The material becomes available on a week-to-week basis. So every week, material will become available. There'll be a mixture of directed reading, some things that we refer to as podcasts, which would be, I guess, almost either a filmed or an audio taped kind of lecture input using slides and perhaps a video. There might be some other online resources such as videos or other such things. So there'll be a certain amount of resources every week, and then we would generally have a kind of either individual or group tasks, like kind of forum questions for people to respond to. So that all happens on a week-to-week basis. But over and above that, we have live seminars. We use a software, Adobe Connect, and students are able to log into effectively a virtual classroom.
Brilliant.
Where we can see each other and talk to each other in real time. And how we try to use those sessions on a weekly basis is that we use them to consolidate the material from the week before. So the theory being everybody's read did the reading, watched the video, kind of thought about the questions that have been posed, and then we come together, and for 90 minutes we've got the chance to have discussion. And actually, over the first 2 years of the course, the feedback from a number of the students, those Adobe Connect sessions have been absolutely vital in terms of people both consolidating the learning, but also actually about the relational aspect of the course. Because it's one thing interacting with people in a forum, perhaps seeing a little picture up in the corner, but actually getting the chance to talk to people in real time.
It just takes it to a different level.
Yeah.
So if I'm working full time, is there a notional number of hours of extra work that I need to engage with the material in terms of requirements? Presumably it's just the same as a master's programme. I've got about 30 odd hours to find and squeeze from elsewhere to keep up with reading and assignments and contribute online.
Now, I guess any university, well, certainly in the UK system, any university kind of allocates a notional amount of hours to any module, and the rough calculation the actual calculation that is used in Strathclyde and most UK systems is that 1 credit is equal to 10 hours. So these modules are all 20 credits. So and on paper, it's that's 200 hours of study. Now, my experience of working with postgraduate and undergraduate students for many years is there's a spectrum of students out there in terms of kind of how many hours that they put in and engage with. What I would kind of probably get less bogged down is the amount of hours, and more is more about it would very much be my view that the student, if there's any kind of rule of thumb about kind of students who tend to do more or less well in courses, it's those that do the reading, those that engage with the material tend to be the ones that do better, because it impacts on their learning and it impacts on the work that they put in. When, be it on an online course or actually on face-to-face teaching, when students turn up and they've not done the reading and they turn up for class and they're not really able to engage, they're not going to
get the best out of it, or indeed their peers letting their peers down as well. So okay, no, that's helpful. So
there's a particular set of challenges, I think, for online learning in terms of if you've got physical class and that gives you the discipline of having to turn up and having did the reading. Well, we have the Adobe Connect sessions. Probably worth emphasising at this point that the Adobe attendance at the Adobe Connect sessions is not mandatory. There's not, now we encourage all students to attend as many as they can, but we recognise a combination of time zones and people's work commitments that they may not be able to attend them all. But one of the things we can do is we record the Adobe Connect sessions, and those recordings of the classroom discussions go up on the site. So even if you can't attend in person, you can watch it back in your own team at time. A bit like the Google Hangout, many people will be watching this on the recording and they can listen to the discussions and get the benefit of what's going on. What you can't do is participate real time in it. So I guess that's a little bit about the kind of mechanics of how the course runs. I guess what I would say is that the curriculum we draw on a number of disciplines, can also more specifically child and youth care, but draws on sociology, psychology, social work, residential childcare, social pedagogy. So a number of kind of different theoretical and ideological perspectives, kind of trying to bring in kind of different international practice as well. You go through the modules one at a time on a week by week basis. As I say, there's no attendance requirements. There are some, I guess, technical requirements in that sense, that if people are wanting to participate in a distance learning course and kind of think about the sorts of things we're talking about, kind of first and foremost, you're going to need access to a reliable computer or device that allows you to get into the system, access all the materials, especially kind of something that's got the processing power to play the videos and the podcasts,
of course,
and such like. The Adobe Connect, but I think when people hear that, they often think, oh, do I need to buy software for my computer? That you don't. The software is delivered via the university site. What you require is, again, a good device to run it. There are some requirements around about a headset and microphone so that we don't get bombarded with feedback and such like. But even just the simplest sort of headset you get with any sort of mobile phone now generally kind of does the trick in relation to that. I would say actually what is more important is you need an excellent broadband connection.
Of course, yes.
Because I guess even for people trying to tune into this Google Hangout, if you're trying to watch this via Wi-Fi, the chances are it might be cutting in and cutting out. If you're trying to tune in live to class on Adobe Connect and you're on a Wi-Fi connection, even if you think your Wi-Fi connection is quite strong, it can be problematic. So you need to be able to, as I say, kind of plug into the wall and connect into the broadband connection, and that makes it much more reliable. And I guess that there's a certain level of IT competence that's required to participate in an online program as well, because all the material, the way that you access all the material is via your computer. But I would like to think that we've got a good kind of support and advice package for kind of people. So if you're not familiar with all that sort of stuff, then that shouldn't necessarily put you off in the first instance, because we help people through that process.
Yeah, but a good level of basic computer literacy in terms of being able to navigate through a desktop, go online, and comfortable with the likes of Word and Adobe applications and PDF readers, that type of thing.
Yeah, but we'll support you to get there. So I've mentioned entry requirements, relevant practice experience, and actually the thing I mentioned about the range of settings, I think it's also important the fact that we can be talking about what I might call frontline workers, so those kind of working with children and young people themselves. With some people in the courses who might be more in a managerial or a supervisor position, so actually their main role is actually perhaps managing or engaging with other professionals. That's equally fine. I mentioned about academics, in a sense, again, that's fine, working with students, and there may be a number of other kind of services that wrap around that people could make application for as well. So think about not about this programme, but a related programme we've got here, which is a face-to-face course aimed at practitioners in Scotland that are MSc in Advanced Residential Childcare. And for instance, we've had students on that from inspection agencies, so they don't necessarily work face-to-face with the children, but they work with organisations that do that. So,
and is there an element of practice experience then, or as a supervisor or a manager, would I need access to service users or staff to be able to evidence or show competence in any shape or form?
I guess you have to be drawing on your practice continually in terms of your engagement with so if you're a manager or a supervisor, the practitioners that you're supporting, so can access the service in that way. One of the modules does involve is a focus on communication and attuned interactions. So it requires a student to video themselves in practice, and then that video is shared with us, and we usually be connect to watch the video, analyse it with a focus on communication. But again, because the focus is on communication, if you're a frontline worker working with children and young people, then ideally you video yourself with clients, and that becomes the focus of your video. If you're, for instance, a manager or somebody working in the education setting, kind of working with practitioners or students, well, if that's your main communication, then that's what you video.
Brilliant.
Okay, because the focus is on your practice and the communication, and working with the children in that sense is, for that part of the assessment, is not the kind of prime focus. So it's very much aimed at people's own practice experience, kind of where they are. And see, we've got a wide range of students in many ways. They come from a range of different places. They work in a number of different settings, and they've got a number of different roles. And I think that's actually one of the kind of real strengths of the programme, is what it means is that kind of what students have been exposed to within the student cohort is so much
richer as a result of that.
And some of the really interesting conversations that crop up when kind of, for instance, I don't know, a Scottish student working in a residential unit and kind of thinking about their world, and then hearing somebody talking about working, for instance, in a camp in Africa, working with transient children who've fled war-torn countries and been separated from their parents, and thinking about the challenges involved in working with children in that sense.
Wow.
So each challenging each other in terms of their perspectives. Aware of the time, that there's one important thing to mention at the end, and that, because a question that always comes up such as about kind of costs and fees and such like. So the fees for the entire 2-year programme are £4,000. That's UK money, so wherever you are, kind of do your conversions. So it's not £4,000 per year; it's £4,000 for the entire year, and that's regardless of whether you're based in Scotland, elsewhere in the UK, or anywhere else. It's £4,000 for all students. But linking this into caring for vulnerable children, of course, my guess is anybody watching this Google Hangout is going to have completed the Caring for Vulnerable Children course. If you complete the Caring for Vulnerable Children course, then you have the proof of completing it, which is if you purchased the certificate of completion. If you successfully apply for the MSc, that qualifies you for a 10% fee discount. Okay, that's £400 because even my maths can work that out.
That was very good, yes.
Right, so that means the actual kind of cost works out at £3,600.
Brilliant.
For that bunch of students. So if this is something that you are interested in, and part of the reason we're doing this is because you've did care for vulnerable children. It was completely online, so you've got a certain degree of familiarity with kind of how we go about our business here. We've got our MSc. It's completely online as well. It would be really important to kind of stress that in terms of kind of workload and level of study, it's a significant step up. But you would see a lot of the same faces, particularly myself and Laura, who appeared in week 2, kind of are the 2 main academics that you would engage with. We hope this has given you some information about the course that will be helpful, but no doubt if this is something that you might be interested in, I'm sure you've got some other questions. So Graham.McFeet, is that right? Yeah, Graham.McFeet@shaft.ac.uk. Drop me an email. I would be happy to either via email or perhaps by phone or Skype, have a conversation with you if you've got any kind of questions. And if you do want to go for an application, then go to the course page. We said find that via this. You'll find that on the Strathclyde website. The course outline is no, try it again. On the course page, there's a button that you press, and that takes you into the online application process, and you fill out your application and upload your materials from there.
Brilliant, fantastic. Sounds like a brilliant opportunity.
Okay, so thanks for watching and listening, and please do get in contact if you get any questions.